Hello, everyone. Wasn't that reading beautiful? That's sort of what we're all about this month. We're talking about that idea of connection with the sacred, and it's all sacred. And when we allow our whole authentic self to suit up and show up without any apologies, then we get to know each other at a whole nother level. We get to know who we are. Thank you, Victoria. Today we're going to start with the sacred self. Flaws and all. Because we all have some flaws, right? Yeah, but we're all perfect just as we are. In the depths of our being lies that essence, that sacred part of us who knows our perfections, that part of us that knows who and whose we really are. And it's all about celebrating that piece. It's about connecting to that piece. And then allowing that piece to have a voice that is louder than the rest of them. So often we disconnect ourselves from that inner truth, right? We've got things to do, places to go, people to meet. We've got stuff to live up to, right? But what if we moved beyond that? What if we just spent 1 week, this is my invitation, what if we spent 1 week and just ignored our fears and our doubts and our self-judgment? We spent 1 week not criticizing ourselves or anyone else. We spent 1 week, just 1 week. And I'm okay if it's only 1 day, but we should try for a week. Just being who we really are. What if we shifted our perspective and we just embraced all of it? In fact, what if we celebrated our flaws? Because that's what makes us unique. That's what makes us that unique divine expression of the one. In fact, what if we really embraced our fullness and said, thank you, flaws, for allowing me to learn and grow. Thank you, flaws, for giving me an opportunity to not only embrace mine, but to accept others, just as they might be. In this teaching, The Science of Mind, we know that each and every one of us has an infinite connection. Each and every one of us has everything that we need because we are the divine expression of the one. We talk about how the one, whatever you call it, experiences its creation as we experience our life. And I would like to go so far as to say that those flaws are divine and unique and here for us to reach into that one power and that one presence and move and embrace and then move beyond. Ernest Holmes, our founder in the Science of Mind textbook, writes, to be real and free, individuality must be created in the image of perfection and let alone to make great discoveries for itself. We are not bound by our history. We are not bound by our present conditions. We are not bound by social media or marketing agents. We're not bound by any of that. We, right here and right now, are completely and totally interconnected. We, right here and right now, are totally and completely expressing our oneness. And we have everything that we need. Because there's this intricate web of how it all works, right? We talk about it's not in our time, it's in God's time. What if it's in our time? What if it's when we're willing to embrace our sacredness, to celebrate our sacredness, to let it shine, and to share it with others? We often talk about the fact that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. But we don't talk about, we don't say, but we need to, and we don't acknowledge, we're spiritual beings having a human experience no matter what. Not just when it's all good and rosy, right? Not just when we're feeling spiritual or we're hanging out with each other. We are spiritual beings always having a human experience. And when you look at life from that place, just take a breath and recognize, man, we are incredible. You know, Jesus once said, love thy neighbor as thyself, right? And we hear that and we're like, okay, we're going to love our neighbor more. No, we need to love ourselves more. When we love ourselves more, then we can love our neighbor more because we've got more to give. Jesus was making an assumption. He was making an assumption that, man, you're a child of God. You love yourself just like I love myself. Yeah, it's not always true, is it? In this thing called you, Ernest Holmes writes, Jesus spent little time in negative thought, only enough to see through it, to reverse the false sense of life with the true realization of his union with God. The glorious figure, like a shaft of light, shot across the bewildered consciousness of man, proving every claim he made, leaving behind him a breath of heaven, a fragrance of love. As he identified himself with the source of his being, so must you identify yourself with that spirit which is ever with you. Ever with you. What if we spent a week doing that? Recognizing, right? That right where we are, we're not alone. We are on sacred ground, doing sacred work, totally supported by the one power, the one intelligence, the one creative energy of it all. You know, I know that sometimes I find myself paying lip service to that idea, right? Because there are some days when you just want to put the covers over your head and hang out. And it's okay to have those days, as long as you're not building a condo, right? As long as you're willing to at some point when it's right, take the covers off your head or reach out to someone for the support you need to get on with getting on. I know that it's so much easier, at least for me, to identify and spend time on my mistakes, on my woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? To spend time with my flaws and my fears and that inherent belief that I'm not good enough. I'm just not enough. Anybody else? I'm not enough sometimes, right? So not true. It is so not true. And even though we can always find someone that'll back up that BS, because we can, right? It's still not true. It is still not our truth. The truth is that those flaws and those mistakes and those fears are all here, I believe, for us to move through or beyond, or just to plain let go of, right? Sometimes you just got to stop asking the why and just let it go. Because if our struggles and our challenges become opportunities for us, then we've changed the perspective. And we've started to embrace life from a spiritual perspective. We start allowing ourselves to become more vulnerable, more willing, and more accepting. Because when we start accepting our own flaws, then we start accepting others. When we start to respect ourselves more, it's so much easier to respect others. When we let go of our struggles and just embrace them, we've got so much more energy, mental energy, emotional energy, and physical energy to move on to that next greater sweet spot in the world. Michael Jordan, arguably the best basketball player ever, unless someone else is now better and I'm just not keeping up, said, "I've missed over 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeeded." Don't you love that idea? It's just another opportunity to move to that next place. Hafiz, who was a great Sufi master, there's a book, The Gift, and he has a poem, and different people interpret his work in different ways, but this one I absolutely love, and I don't remember who edited this one, but check this out. The difference between a good artist and a great one is the novice will often lay down his tools or brush and then pick up an invisible club on the mind's table and helplessly smash the easels and jade. Whereas the vintage man no longer hurts himself or anyone and keeps on sculpting in the light. How often do we pick up that invisible hammer? And we're not usually beating up other people, right? We're usually beating up ourselves. But there's no reason, because what I know is that those of us who gather, those of us in this teaching, we are totally aware of our greatness. We are aware of the fact that we're all one. We are all a vintage person. All of us. Because if we weren't vintage, we wouldn't be gathering here. We wouldn't be willing to go deeper. We wouldn't be willing to expand and share. We gather here because we are vintage, which means that that invisible hammer no longer has a place. So, what are some of the ways that we can go deeper within our sacred self? None of these are new to any of us. And a lot of them we're already doing. So I'm just going to do a little reminder for you. Radical self-forgiveness, compassion towards oneself as well as others, deepening our spiritual practice, and surrounding ourselves with a supportive community. That's kind of what it is. And like I said, a lot of us are already doing all of that. But what if we did it just a little bit more, right? Like just one more step forward. Radical self-forgiveness. To be beautiful means to be yourself. You don't need to be accepted by others. You need to accept yourself. Thich Nhat Hanh. You alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody. Maya Angelou. So, a lot of people already know that about you. It's about you knowing that about you. And when we embrace ourselves fully, that really means letting go of perfection. Just letting it go. Letting go of judgments and unrealistic expectations that other people have. And I think it means daily, again, for this 1 week, daily, spending time forgiving yourself. Like reviewing the day and just forgiving yourself for all of the woulda, coulda, shouldas. Like, what if just let those words go. And as you review your day, if there's something you can correct, great, correct it. But if not, you just gotta let it go, because we are not our history. And at the end of the day, it's just history. It's about being okay with all of it. So cultivating compassion. Try these out. Jack Hornfield. If your compassion does not include yourself, it's incomplete. Be gentle with yourself, learn to love yourself, to forgive yourself, for only as we have the right attitude towards ourselves can we have the right attitude towards others. Wilford Peterson. There's a shared humanity, and there's this word called grace, right? And so often we are willing to sit in grace with others. But how often do we sit in grace with ourselves? Just allowing it to hold us, to breathe with us, to listen to our heart and our soul, creating that space for healing without knowing what we're healing. We don't need to know what or why or how. We just need to sit in the compassionate grace that is ours. It's like right there. It's closer than your next breath. Which takes me to that idea of a deepening spiritual practice. I know most of us have one, if not all of us, and it's our own, right? No one gets to tell you what your spiritual practice should be. It's about finding that space where not only are you talking to the one, but you're being quiet enough to listen to the one. Meditation is a journey from sound to silence, from movement to stillness, from a limited identity into unlimited space. Sri Sri Shankar. Prayer is not asking. It is a longing of the soul. It is a daily admission of one's desires. It is better in prayer to have a heart without words than words without a heart. Mahatma Gandhi. You know, even if it's just a conscious breath more often than normal, it's about going a little deeper and doing it for yourself, knowing that it lifts all kinds of others up, but just doing it for this week, for yourself. Oprah Winfrey. Surround yourself with only people who are going to lift you higher. Gahil Gibran. In the sweetness of friendship, let there be laughter and sharing of pleasures, for in the dew of little things the heart finds its morning and is refreshed. When we gather here together, whether it's in person, online, via Zoom, however we gather, and we're all one. And just as when we do spiritual mind treatment, which is our way of affirmative prayer, loosely, we don't need to be in each other's presence for that, right? We don't need to be in each other's physical presence to feel the power and the love and the positive, creative, wonderful energy. Now, don't get me wrong. It's great to be in person. But it's all about just being within the one and recognizing our oneness and our connection and allowing ourselves to be ourselves, which I would like to remind us all takes a lot of courage. It's not easy to be authentic. It just isn't. It's not how we were brought up for the most part. But when we allow ourselves to reveal our true selves to those that we trust, right, we get support. And with that support, we get the courage to do what it is that we want to do, to allow that authentic self with all of those flaws and faux pas to suit up and show up. Again, just for 1 week. 1 week. When we reveal ourselves to the world from a place of our true essence, we are allowing other people to be who they are. When we accept ourselves and we accept others, we're allowing others to be who they are. And I'll tell you what, there's nothing better than just being yourself. Take Bodhi, for example. He is being his complete and total self. And don't we love it? I mean, we love it. Before long, he's going to be running the aisles, so there's always that. So we have a supportive community right here. We have all of the love and the forgiveness and the kindness and the compassion for each other than one could ever possibly want. And for that, I just say thank you to each and every one of you, because we lighten our own loads when we join together, when we share together, when we tell our stories from a place of truth and not a place of, this is what you probably want to hear, right? When we show up, even though we're not bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, whatever that means. But it's my mom saying, right? Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Even when we're not feeling like that, and we suit up and we show up here, it just feels better. Crying together, celebrating together. You know, we're just never, ever alone. We're always in the company of the divine. And we're never, ever alone, because this center has an incredible group of practitioners that is totally available. And when we allow ourselves just to be in all of the good and all of the bad and all of the ugly and all of the sad and all of the scared, we just allow ourselves to be and let other people embrace us and support us. There's no stopping us. I'm going to close with another quote from Ernest Holmes, from this thing called You. And your search is after something greater, even to lose your littleness, something within you worthy of immortality and expansion. The world has not looked for God where he may be found. Here is the great secret. There is only one God, one divine mind. This one is undivided, hence it is present everywhere. God is not only where you are, God is what you are. You need no longer go and search after it. Rather, live and think from a union in which you already have. You already have it all. Let's pray from that point, shall we? All right, join me in a spiritual mind treatment. In this moment, I allow myself to remember the truth that there is only one. And I not only embrace it, but I willingly step forward in it, with it, as it, and for it, allowing my authentic self to be love, to be joy, to be peace, allowing my authentic self to just be without any judgment. And it is from that place of willingness that I say thank you for an opportunity to be all that I can be, just as I can be. For it is only me who can do what I am here to do. And I do it gracefully. I do it in my own way. And I do it knowing that I am completely and totally supported. I give thanks. I let God do all the heavy lifting, and I just let this all go. So it is. So this week, just 1 week, okay? Just 1 week. have the courage to just say, yeah, this is who I am. This is who I am. And let everybody else say, yay for you. Namaste.